Hello, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this declutter of my Pip and Marseille style decks. Oh my goodness. Okay, so first off, if you aren't sure what a Pip deck is, essentially it is a deck that is not necessarily in any particular style, but instead of a scene in the minor arcana, you might see, or in the four minor suits, swords, cups, pentacles, you might see a number of the suit symbol instead. So they're more minimalist style decks. While I do use decks like that, I don't need this many decks like that. So I thought I would go through them and see if I can weed them out some. And looking at this, I'm not sure how successful I'll be. So I think I'm going to do this kind of KonMari style. So I'm going to start by just pulling out my absolute favorites, I think. And then we're just going to see, where we end up, see if there's any comparisons, that sort of thing. So everything you see here is what we're talking about. So gosh, where the heck do I begin? Okay, I'm going to try to do this. Yeah, I don't know if I said I was going to KonMari style it. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm suddenly under so much pressure. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Everything's all right. Okay, I'm not used to doing it this way where everything's already on the table. I feel like I've got so much accountability all of a sudden. All right, so let's just start here. So La Corte dei Tarocchi. Oh my gosh, okay. So this is such a cool deck. It isn't a deck I use a lot. This is definitely something that I consider kind of a collector's item. I really, really love it. I wonder if I would use it more if I had less things that reminded me of this, or do I just keep it because the cardstock is delicious and the shape and size of it is so unique? I mean, I love this moon card so much. What am I thinking? Okay, let me think about what I have that's kind of similar. So something that feels this kind of like old and kind of fancy, similar delicious cardstock. Okay, so let's look at the Tarot of Musterberg. So this one also, this one is also pretty yummy. Let's just see. So this one has a similar kind of papery cardstock. This one feels also kind of old, but the characters in this one are a lot more kind of cartoony. The shape of this does make this particular deck a lot more usable, and in fact I can shuffle this and it's pretty yummy. I really, really like the art style of these characters, and actually they're pretty easy to look at. I mean, okay, hold on. Let me think about this for a minute, because I freaking love this deck, but I wonder if I could riffle this. Okay, nobody gasp in horror. We're just going to see if it's even possible. Because I do have kind of biggish hands. Oh, this isn't going to happen. So I'm definitely stuck only being able to hand over hand this, because I can't get my hands around it. Oh, okay. So this is neat. The cardstock is so yummy. But I don't use this. It doesn't feel very practical. It doesn't feel like I can shuffle it. This is really, really cute. And I've always said it would never, never leave. But I think, okay, this is literally already starting out not the way I thought. Because I was like, well, this one's super safe. But then I think about this one. And I think about the fact that I really genuinely like the quirky kind of style to the characters. And these are both modern decks, even though they feel old. But this one, it feels like it's very, very easy to shuffle. So I feel like if I was going to grab a deck with this kind of feeling, this one I'd actually grab. And I'm a little less afraid, I guess, of taking this out in the wild. And again, I don't really see myself as somebody who wants to just like collect to collect. You know what I mean? I want to have a library of decks that I use. I think, okay, you know what? I'm going to freak myself out. But I think I'm going to put this deck in the consideration to leave pile for now. No final decisions have been made. Nobody freak out. We're going to be okay. It's going to be fine. This has that kind of old feel. Feels more usable. I don't know. Would I read with this one either, though? I don't know. Okay. Oh, we're going to some weird places. Okay, so I think, while I think for the delicious cardstock, I feel like I like this one. I like the cardstock of this better in theory, but I can't shuffle it. And this one, I like the quirk of the art a little bit more. It's a little bit less dark. And I don't know. I feel like, okay, these are both in consideration to go. I don't know. It doesn't mean they're going to go. I'm just going to put them in the I'm not sure pile. Okay, things that I know. I thought I was going to start with things I knew were going to stay, and that didn't go very well. So let's start with the White Sage Tarot. So this one is not a Marseille. This is a pip deck, and this is definitely not going anywhere. It's a very, very usable pip deck for me because I get their pips, as you can see here, we just have 2 wands, right? And these are Pussy Willows, which is super cool. But they also have these ribbons going through them, which tie directly, oops, I'm shaking the camera. They tie directly into the chakras, which makes this a very usable pip deck for me. I find it really different that way. And I love using it. It's very, very usable, despite being a pip deck. So this one's staying. So this one can definitely go in the it's safe pile. Okay, progress. Okay. Okay, let's go to this one next. So this is the Asherah Tarot. I'm pretty sure this is safe because it's the only Thoth pip deck that I have, or Thothy deck that I have other than the actual Thoth. And I really, really love this. So it's got all the delicious Thoth symbolism. It's got really bright colors. I really love this deck. So this one's definitely safe. It's pip because it's Thoth. Now, I should have brought in my 2 classic Thoth decks, because if I'm going to call this one a pip deck, then I should call my 2 Thoth decks pip as well. I've left them out, but my large and my small Thoth are both still going to stay. Are they, though? Yes, I think they are for now. I could see myself keeping only 1 for reference going forward because I really love the Asherah. If I want to read with that sort of Thoth energy, this is the one I'm most drawn to, but I don't need to be in a hurry. So I'm going to keep my original Thoth, and these are the Asherah Tarot is definitely staying. This is the pocket size edition, and after I ordered this, they came out with the tarot size, so you can get both. Okay, so these 2 are safe, White Sage and Asherah. Okay, so more pip decks. Let's talk about the Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus, and maybe I really need to think about this in conjunction with these, because this one also has a more, I don't know, kind of adult, but again, it's still not a Marseille feel, but it's got a very specific theme which draws me in, and this is the Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus by Robert M. Place. The little white book for this is amazing, and I love that it brings in that alchemical energy. Plus, the pips are actually really quite, there's little hints here and there to the Rider-Waite-Smith, which I think is kind of cool. I really do like that about this. Just a bit here and there. So that's kind of neat. I do really like this for that. And I don't have any other deck that gets into alchemy, so this one is also safe. So Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus, you are safe. Okay, so this is Marseille. This is Marseille. Let's get into, okay, so let's talk about the Wild Unknown. I'm pretty sure this is safe. So this is the standard size. These are the same, just one's a pocket. So I consider this a pip because it's quite minimalist through the minors. There we go. So there's 2 swords, 3 of pentacles, 4 of wands, Ace of Wands. The funny thing is I do find myself reaching for this one mostly for the pocket size. And I wonder if I need to keep this the full size and the pocket size. I think I will for now. So let's just take a look at the pocket. The pocket is so great. This is a great deck for big spreads, and I tend to reach for my pocket size decks for big spreads. I mean, this cardstock will never feel as nice as the full size in my opinion, but it's still pretty decent. Super easy to shuffle, this little pocket guy. So I think, I'm not a fan of that, but it totally works for the meaning of the card. Yeah, so I think, yeah, I love the updated Justice card too. Okay, so this one, the little pocket, is definitely going to stay. And I think I'm going to keep the full size as well. I rehomed this at one point, but I think it's just one that's such a significant part of my tarot journey that I think it stays. And so does the pocket. I feel like I'm not making terribly good progress here. Okay, these 3 are all pip, and these ones are all Marseille. So let's talk about the last 3 pip decks. So this one is the newest one to my library, and this is the Antique Anatomy. When this first came out mass market, it was a really super flimsy, like papery cardstock, and then they fixed it. So this is a much nicer mass market cardstock, in my opinion. It still feels like a little bit on the, like, I don't know what the right word is, papery, kind of. It feels nice. Like, it doesn't feel overly cheap, but it also shuffles really nicely. So this one is new. It's definitely safe because I find it's really, really readable. It gives me layers. There is color symbology here. This is super fun. And there are hints, if you're looking for them, in many of the cards, I would say, to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So it's got that kind of Rider-Waite-Smith feeling to it. But I like the colors. I like the anatomy stuff. Okay, so this one's staying. Oops. So this one's safe. Okay, these are getting a little tougher. This is one that I've toyed with letting go, but the aesthetic is so me. I'm still not a fan of this bag. I should probably get it back in a Peggy bag, but so the Bumbleberry Hollows. So the thing about this is my aesthetic in that it's very like sweet and kawaii and cartoony, but that fat bumblebee though, hold on. This fat bumblebee, so cute. It does bug me that the 10 of Cups only has 9 cups. That's an annoying thing, but I do like these colors. The problem I think I have with this is that it's charming to look at, but I don't ever reach for it. And I wonder if it's because the thing that I tend to go to pip decks for, this little character, so cute. I had a stuffy of that character, which I did end up gifting. I think because it's so cute, I don't tend to reach for it for the things that I tend to reach for pip decks for, which is a really interesting realization actually, because my pip deck readings, I tend to go to pip decks when I want a really neutral answer to question, which means that I tend to go to them a lot for, which means I tend to go to this kind of deck, or pip decks rather, a lot for like money questions and business questions. And I think the silly nature of this, the playful nature of it, makes it one that I'm just less likely to want to reach for in the circumstances in which I would normally reach for a pip deck. So as adorable as this is, and it is quite adorable, I think this one's on the chopping block, actually. So let me, oh, I love the backs though. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this one can maybe go. It does have its own bag. It's just, you know, bag snob and all. Okay. So this is going to go over to the side on the chopping block. Let's take a look at the Tattoo Tarot. So this has been my favorite pip deck for a long time. So it should, in theory, be safe. And looking at it now, I mean, I guess technically it's still safe. I'm kind of wondering, though, if I didn't have this, if I would reach for other pip decks, or because I have this, if I should declutter something else. I do like to reach for this a lot. It has exactly the right kind of energy for the type of readings I go to pip decks for. So it feels really readable and really neutral. It does actually give me a little of that sort of old tarot vibes that I think I wanted to get from these two decks, but I actually reach for this all the time. And actually, if I'm thinking about it, between this one and this one and the Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus, I really do have that sort of kind of fun, almost vintagey feeling. I have that kind of covered. Okay. So I'm not going to make final decisions on what's going to them at the end, but I think these are both safe. It's interesting too, because it tells me that my aesthetic seems to be, like, I have a much easier time, I feel like, keeping pip decks or thinking about using pip decks than I do Marseille. And I wonder if it's because when it's Marseille, I feel like it has to be used in a particular way. So let me start off with, okay, this is the newest addition to my Marseille collection, and I love this deck. This is the Mary Packard Tarot. I got this through a trade with a friend, and I do really like it. It's been edged. And these are nice big cards, but I really love the aesthetic of these. And I love the backings. I just think it's really, really beautiful. It's quite big, but it's not too difficult to handle. It's kind of a satin cardstock. It has all those traditional directional things that I quite like, but it feels like I'm working with something that has a particular aesthetic. So it's less, I guess, boring than some Marseille decks seem to be to me. So this feels very classic and very original, but in a way that I feel like is really aesthetically pleasing. So this one is going to stay, and it doesn't have a bag because it lives in my Marseille and Pip decks. Well, my Marseille decks anyways tend to live in a basket. So I think, yeah, this one's definitely safe. Let me just continue the safe pile up there. This, okay, wait, what am I going to do here? Oh my God. So this one, and this one are kind of also competing for the same kind of place that the Mary Packard Marseille does. But these are, of course, all slightly different sizes. So the Nicholas Conver, I wanted this for study. And it is quite delicious because the cardstock is linen. Oh, I forgot there was a blank card in there. This has been reconstructed, I guess, what do you call that? Restored. It's a restoration deck by Artisan Tarot, and it's very crisp. The lines are very, very clean. Wow, that is still kind of appealing to look at. I kind of like the crispness of it. And I do love that it's linen. The reality is, though, I don't really read with a lot of Marseille, but this feels like, I don't know, historically accurate, I guess you could say. I mean, so does the Mary Packard, but this has got that kind of crisp, clean. It's got a really nice neutral backing. That's the artist card. Gosh, okay. I really thought I was going to be making quick and easy decisions today, but this is not how this is working out. Let me think about that and look at the other two for a second and see kind of where I'm landing. Because I've got the I've got the Mary Packard for a really good, clean, traditional. This one, though, has like that kind of messy vintage look. This one feels kind of classic and yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for now. Not in the safe pile, but just in the I'm thinking about it pile. So this was the original Marseille that I worked with because I was having trouble with traditional Marseilles and getting excited about them. And this is the Marseille Cat Tarot. And it's so freaking cute. I love the colors. I love the little characters that show up. And am I upside? No. Oh, okay. I've got reversals mixed in here. The cats just give it so much personality. It was a lot of fun to study with this deck, but you still get nods. Like here's the Six of Swords, and you still get a nod to the Rider-Waite-Smith here, which is super fun. It's definitely a Marseille deck I recommend if you're normally bored by Marseille. But looking at this now, after having just looked at these two, I'm kind of feeling sort of meh about it, although I have to show you the Death card because it's the one thing that always makes me hesitate to rehome this. But we had some good time together, me and this deck. But I don't really reach for it. It's more like a memory of when I was studying Marseille originally. The majors are so cute. Let's just see. Where is our Death card? Because it's so great. I feel like I've got so many reversals in here. It's going to be like at the very bottom. Tower. There he is. This is the best. This is the best Death card. Look at. Isn't that great? I think this one actually, I think it's probably time. I think I can let this one go. I think our time together is probably over. So that is the Marseille Cat. I think that one can go in the to-go pile for now. Which leaves me, as far as the more traditional looking Marseille with my Tarot de Maria Celia. This was a favorite for a long time. Oh, I really like these colors. I always forget how much I like this. I don't feel like I'm doing a great job here. This is so pretty. It is convenient to have a Marseille deck in a tin. Question is, do I like this better than I like the Conver? I love these jewel tones. Okay, hold on. I mean, there's something so fancy feeling to me about the Conver. I think it just feels crisp. This one and the Mary Packard, I mean, these feel so different. Okay, I think none of this is going the way I thought. Okay, I think for now, I'm going to put this over in the still thinking about it pile, and I think I'm going to consider letting go of the Maria Celia. It is a beautiful Marseille deck. It really, really is. I love the though, but really? Really though? I don't know. Okay, I'm thinking about it, but it's leaning towards, this one's leaning towards yes. This one's leaning towards no. And then we have the Tarot Siren, which, I mean, it's a Marseille, but it's water themed and mermaid themed. And it's pretty darn cute. I do like the pinks and the purples. Like, I love that our strength card is like this, like Ursula light creature. I do really enjoy the watery vibes. So do I like this more than I like my Tarot de Maria Celia? And I think the answer to that is yes. I think this gives me something different than these two. So this has a really unique feel. So I feel like this one can stay. Tarot de Siren. And I think the Maria Celia can go, which leaves us with the Mythical Creatures Tarot. And this one, gosh, I almost don't know what category to put this in. This is a beautiful Baba Studios deck. I'm pretty sure this is safe. I just wanted to have a look at it and just see how I feel. I need to reach for it more, and I hesitate a lot. I shouldn't, because it's a beautiful deck. The cold foil stamping on this deck is gorgeous if you've never seen it. There's just a lot of shimmering gleam. I love that the majors are all, I mean, this is my perfect unicorn pretty much for the star card, and that card alone would have me keeping this deck no matter what. I feel like, okay, so these are all Marseille decks. This is staying. This is staying. Okay, so these are all Marseille decks that have a very, very different vibe. And I also have that's a very satisfying little arrangement. So I have this like big vintagey one, which I'm just going to keep looking at things again and just kind of see. So I have this very cool vintage feeling one. It's really pretty. And I can shuffle it this way. Really, really pretty. Okay, so that gives me 4 Marseille decks if I keep just these 4. So, and each one is very, very different. So the only 2 really classic Marseilles are these 2, the Mary Packard and the Converse. So this one is like big and kind of aesthetic, and then this one is excellent for study. It's very clean. It works. I feel like it's kind of all I need. I could technically decide between these 2, but then I kind of like the idea of having a proper restoration deck. Particularly for any studies or workshops or things like that. So I think these 2 cover my needs for historical kind of correct feeling decks, if that makes any sense. And then these 2 are my 2 themed Marseille decks, the Mythical Creatures and the Tarot Siren. And that kind of definitely sort of trims things down a bit. So these 4 would be staying for my Marseille decks. So let's put those there. So let me revisit pips and see if I'm still happy with how many pip decks I have here. So these 3 all serve a really, really unique they're off camera. These 3 all serve a really unique purpose. The Ashura is a Thoth, the Alchemical Magnum Opus is alchemical themed, and the White Sage is chakra themed. So these 3 all have a very specific job to do and a different take on being a pip deck, which means that the only 3 sort of general pip decks I have are these 3. Of these 3, the central one, the Tattoo Tarot Ink and Intuition, this feels like my go-to neutral pip deck. It just feels all-purpose in a way. It's like my Rider-Waite-Smith. I guess for some people what the Rider-Waite-Smith would be, it's like that, but it's in a pip deck. The Anatomical Tarot. The Antique Anatomy, I feel like leans a little bit, it feels like almost deeper in its way, so that works. Do I still need both Wild Unknowns? Yes. So that means I am keeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pip decks and 5 Marseille. Now let me just take one last look at what's in the to-go pile to see if I have any second thoughts. All right, Terra de Maria Celia. I think I'm ready to let this one go. I do have another pocket Marseille, so it's not like I don't have one that I can like cart around with me if I need a little one. I do love that this one's in a tin, but I mean, this is just as travel friendly to me as this one is. So that's not really a thing. Yeah, I think I'm okay with letting that one go. Marseille Cats, I think I feel good about letting that one go. Bumbleberry Hollows. I have been debating this one for a while, but I think I'm ready to let this one go. And that means these two. So my question to myself is, would I reach for either of these over any of these? If I was like feeling pip decks, would I feel like, you know, I really want the Tarot of Musterberg for this situation? Or the Taroki, the Corte de Taroki? And the answer to that question is no. So then my second question, I guess, is, do I want to keep either just to keep them, just to have them? So Tarot of Musterberg, that's a no. I feel like this one can move on out, I feel like, probably. Let me look at it again, make sure I'm ready. Yeah, I feel like as quirky as these characters are, and this was totally, I think this was a say yes to the deck. Was it or it was a runner-up and a say yes to the deck, and then I ended up getting it anyways. I feel like, yeah, I feel like as delicious and yummy as the cardstock is, I think that's almost like the main reason I've kept it, which is not, for me, ultimately a reason to hold on to something. So I think that one, for me, can go. And like I said, I've always said that the Taroki, the Corte de Taroki would be safe in my collection, and it was even in my curio cabinet decks. But the reality is that other than literally pulling out and looking at it, I don't use it. And I really don't feel the need for many things to hold on to them just because I like the look and feel of them. But I kind of wonder if I'm okay to continue to let this one be the exception, at least for now. But I still don't think I'm ever going to read with it. I have occasionally. That cardstock is so yummy. But I almost feel like it just sits there taunting me. I don't know if you guys ever have this experience. Because I like everything to be usable, if I have something that I'm not using, it just ends up feeling like it's poking at me a little bit. Like, I think I'm going to purgatory it. I'm definitely not going to be in a hurry. This one does go in and out of stock regularly, but as far as I know, it's not like going away permanently. So if you find it that it's out of stock, don't panic. It usually comes back from Il Manigello. It's my only Il Manigello deck. But the reality is that this is not my usual tarot aesthetic. And I kind of feel like because of that, I just tend to have it as a pretty thing and not a usable thing. So I think it's going to at least go into purgatory. And if I find myself missing it, then maybe I'll revisit. But until then, I think I'm going to feel okay about purgatorying it. Which means that I'm keeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 decks in this category. And I'm rehoming 1, 2, 3, 5. So it's not dramatic, but this was a fairly curated section of my collection already because I do tend to reach for scenic decks. I feel like the place of most excess is right here with the Wild Unknown. And I do kind of wonder if it's a little excessive for me to keep them, knowing that I don't really reach for either. Well, I reach for this one for Celtic cross spreads, but I don't really reach for the full size often. But I think if I've only got a few basic pip decks, then this becomes a little bit more realistic. So I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm good. All right, so that's where we're sitting. As usual, things just sit in purgatory for a while. If I ever feel the need to pull them back out, that's completely fine. I let myself do that. Otherwise, if I don't feel like I'm missing them or if I don't feel like reaching for them for a while, then I know that it's time for them to go. So that is where we've landed today, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Hopefully I haven't horrified anybody too terribly much with my choices. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me, for putting your eyeballs here, liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all the good YouTube-y things. I really, truly appreciate you so, so much. Extra major big thank you to the Unicorn fam who helped support my work here. It really means so much. And as always, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, everybody.